So Ward, come up here. Come on.
Oh.
I want to tell all of you that Ward, and who's married to Lori here, the two of them are making this place go. There's 3 or 4 other people here that I'll introduce to you, but these folks have just been so supportive of me and of many others here. And if you enjoyed the video of me, if you saw the video, that is the guy right there who made it. But this is the man, the legend. I don't know where he got those funny pictures of me, but boy, oh boy. Thank you, Lori. It's so great. I just feel filled with joy and great happiness, pleasure to see all of you here. I mean, you come from so many different places, and some from the church, some from the other church, if you know what I mean. And some of you have come to the studio and seen the pottery there. Some of you I haven't seen for ages, and others I've seen most recently. So such a mix of wonderful, beautiful people. We had, a dozen chairs set up for people, hoping that we would get a dozen people. So this is just a wonderful avalanche of delightful people. Okay, that's enough. Lots of you know that I was raised to be a church boy. And my mom and dad, they wanted me to go to seminary, which I did faithfully. And there were other people in our church that just loved me and gathered around me and were a part of setting me, hey Brooke, setting me on this path of a life in the church. And my neighbors. So I did that church thing quite well. And, but, I mean, I preached well. I sat with people and talked about all kinds of things, I ran the vestry meeting once in a while if I could. And, but all of the time that I was in that path of the church, inside, there was something else churning around. I didn't really know what it was, but I knew that it was about the arts. I knew that it was about taking materials of some kind and just putting my mark on a piece of paper. And it was luscious. It made my life fulfilled, doing some kind of art. So as a church person, a clergy person, I went 1 year to Columbia, Maryland, and was a part of the cooperative ministry in that community. And one day, we went on a retreat out in Gaithersburg, Maryland. And so at noon, the person who was hosting us stood up. She told us about the wonderful things that this retreat center did. And then she said, just offhand almost, and there's a potter down the road. You can just go down there and see this person, and you can sit there and talk to him, listen, and you'll enjoy yourself. So I did just that. I walked down the road, I walked into his little shed, and there he was. Where is he? cut yourself. Okay. And this is the man, Bud Wilkinson is his name. And he said to me the day I walked in, he said, sit down and talk to me, say anything you want, but I will not talk to you. I just want to listen. So as he threw his pots, I talked, and he listened, and it changed my life direction forever. This man, Bud. How did he change my direction? How did he change my life? I'm going to read my notes here because it's so important. He first thing was he brought life to that inner voice in me, and he gave that voice a name. I loved the silence of his studio and the simplicity of what he was doing on the wheel. I like touching the soft suppleness of clay and vessels he made that served other people. I liked his comfort with failure. And when I teach my class downstairs, the folks that come for the first time, I say, this is a course in failure, because when you sit down at the potter's wheel and you think you're going to throw a wonderful object, and then all of a sudden everything seems to fall down. You know what I'm talking about, Brooke? Not to point anyone out, of course, but... Pardon?
She used to be my neighbor, so...
She did. Yeah, that's right, that's right. Bud said to me that day, when he did speak, that he was chasing beauty. And wow, that really stuck in my head. Chasing beauty, what would that look like? And the glazes, his glazes, they didn't stay on the surface just immovable. They moved, they slid. It looked like they might slide right off of the pot. Where's my water?
It's right up there behind you on a stand.
Oh. So his pots looked like this was just falling down and off, and he was amazing in how he glazed things. So that very day, I came back to Columbia and I signed up for a pottery course instantly, just like that. And that course, that day, taught by Nancy Joy. I thought that name was wonderful, huh? This is going to be the beginning of my path of joy. And from that course until now is what this is all about. So things went on. From there, I had instruction by Richard Lafine, who was a guy who threw pots by the number. Do this first, do this second, do this third, do this fourth, and so forth. I went to the Chicago Art Institute for a year. So with my potter's wheel in hand and knowing next to nothing about pottery, really, I went back to Columbia to build a studio and to build a gas kiln and to begin a clay making business and to be a potter. And what a whirlwind time it has been, 50 years. Can you think of that? I mean, that is a long time. And to think that my ministry has been running alongside of my life as a potter. Isn't that interesting? I mean, hello, good to see you. Yeah, so my life as a potter has had different stages. The first where I was just beginning, and if you look here, right up here are my first pots. And do you see this little pot right here in the front corner? That was my first pot. The first thing I did. And it reminded me, even from the very beginning, that it looked like a cave. And from my theological point of view, I thought that in this work of pottery, I was entering into a cave that would be a place filled with fascination if I could find my way around in the darkness. So these were my first pots. And then after studying with Richard Lafine, I actually began to throw pots that had some height to them and begin to have glazes that were a bit beautiful. It says that these are archival work. That means that they've been around in my house for a long, long time. And, but I don't know, Lori, where are you? Oh, okay. So if you want to come up and pick one of those up, you can. Is that all right? Yeah, okay, good. So after that time with Richard Lafine and doing things the first time, I went back to Chicago. I finished my seminary degree, and I began to try to find a way that I could do these two things together all the time. And you know, it really never actually worked for me to do that.
Very light, huh?
It's so light.
Very light.
It's so light. So you can pass that around. The first one to drop it. So then, oh, geez, we're going to do it all, huh? Okay.
Sturdy hand.
So my students will tell you that throwing tall, something tall, 10 inches tall, is a very difficult thing on the wheel. And so I was really proud of myself for these pieces. My first real venture into the clay. And then I finally got a real job in a church. And one of the lovely things about that was that the church that I got a job in gave me a frequent sabbatical. You know what a sabbatical is? It's just time off to do your own thing. And what did I do during my sabbaticals? Pottery, okay? And I really went all over the country taking workshops and learning what other people thought it meant to be potters in their own lives. And one of the things that really struck me with force was people who were doing raku pottery. You know what raku pottery is? Okay. Will you pass these out? Everyone should get one, and I think we need more of these. You can pass those back. So raku pottery is where you make a vessel, and just in regular clay, and you biscuit and you put it in the kiln, and you heat the kiln up to 2,000 degrees, and you take a big tool, go into the kiln, you take those pots out with the tongs, and you thrust them down into a barrel of organic material, and it smokes wildly. And then once it's in there for 20 minutes, you take it out again and you submerge it in cold water, just like that. You can imagine any one of us who went through that process, we would be gone by the end. But these pots come out beautifully. And if you look in the window, there are quite a few pots there that are raku pots. The bodies are usually black because there's a lot of carbon that is in this final process, and it penetrates into the body so that the body, which started out white, in the end looks black. And then just gorgeous colors. So you can take a look at those. But this is another one that, this is also a raku pot. And what I learned from raku pots is that they can be done in 100 different ways. So this vessel right here, first of all, Sam, would you give me that stick, please? Yeah, that's fine. So you want to throw this vessel, this round. You have to have a stick, a throwing stick, to go in and to throw it as large as you can. And this pot had sodium silicate painted on it, which is just a clear liquid, but it causes the surface to dry out very quickly. And while it was drying out, copper and other chemicals were just thrown onto the surface. And as they were thrown onto the surface, I continued to throw it from the inside. And you know, it reminded me that it's not just what is on the outside, the skin, even for any of us, but is what is inside as well. That when you're a potter, you're really shaping space. And you have to think about what is that space for? What is it meant to hold? What is it as a gift for someone else? And then the final thing about raku pottery is that they often will break into 1,000 pieces through all of the fire. And once in a while, one will come out and look like this, or like the ones in the window. So take a look at those. I'm not going to pass this around. You'll see that this one here actually lost a part of its body right here. But isn't that a part of its beauty? I mean, yeah. So I was still in the church, and I was getting ready to go to a clergy conference, which are usually the most boring thing in the world. And this one time, the focus was on creativity. And the clergy came in, and they put their creative items around on the table, around the walls. And it was lovely. It was very nice. And I brought a pot in as well. If you've seen this picture up here, I took in this pot right here. And I was thinking, at this time in my ministry, I was making vessels for to bury people's ashes. So making these vessels was something that was really tender to my heart, you know, and whatever I made, I wanted it to be whole and, you know, just, well, anyway, so I made this. So this was that pot in the picture, except for the fact that in the middle of that conference, the person organizing that afternoon had everyone out on the floor move back to the tables around the wall. And someone moved back, and this one fell completely apart. And the body that was on the top fell off. It was never put back on. I keep this body just hanging around in my home because it reminds me that we're all in this thing together, aren't we? And one day we will all be this body, right, rising. That's what the resurrection is about, is being taken up. And Ken, I think this is the place for the sermon. I'll stop right now. So this is still very, very fragile. And I continue to make earthen urns for people, which is a good thing for me to do. Yeah. So, but with that pot, it made me wonder, what is beauty? What is beauty anyway? What is beauty? Come on. You guys are all bright, spirit-filled people. What is beauty?
Authentic expression.
Pardon?
Authentic expression.
Authentic expression. Great. Yeah, that's right. Anything else? Joy?
Which is the eye of the beholder.
The eye of the beholder. So in this milieu of raku, you have the form right there in front of you, and I want you to think about this as I read it to you. These words are written by Paul Saldner, and I think that they say what raku is, but they also say what life is about. And in the spirit of raku, one must embrace the element of surprise. There can be no fear of losing what was once planned. Does that fit anyone here? And there must be an urge to grow along with the discovery of the unknown. In the spirit of raku, make no demands, expect nothing, follow no absolute plan. Is this the way your life is laid out? Be secure in change. Learn to accept another solution and prefer to gamble on intuition. I think those words are worth taking home and putting up on the refrigerator and thinking about them from time to time as you fall and yet rise in new ways. Yeah. So after the raku part of the journey, then I went and had a workshop with a fellow by the name of Stephen Hill. And he made all the difference in how I thought about what I was doing in the work of pottery. And almost everything here, other than the raku, almost everything here was influenced by this one person, Stephen Hill. And my friend said to me yesterday, well, Roger, you need to have a lot of humility because there are so many people who have cared for you and taught you along the way. And that is really true. I have just learned from so many folks who have touched my life and touched my hands. And another friend liked to say to me, Roger, are you living your life or is your life living you? And it's really the latter, that my life seems to be living me, that this voice in me is calling me forth, calling me to the next thing, calling me to the next person, calling me to the next event. And I think, well, Ken, you should stop me. This is where I'm getting into preaching. I think we all have some version of this voice inside. I'm not going to take a list today, but I think we all have that. And the question is, can we listen? Can we listen to the voice? So Stephen Hill taught me about spraying glaze, about layering one glaze on another, and what would happen when you do so. His glazes were juicy when they were fired, and they were not fired in a reduction kiln, which is really the pinnacle of what most potters want. But it was fired in a lowly electric kiln. And that was the kind of kiln that I had. So what he had to say was so important that the glazes for him indeed kind of ran down the side. They were juicy. You wanted to reach out and touch their juiciness. All right. So where should we go? Where should we go? So this, I would not have been able to do this platter if it hadn't been for Stephen Hill. He just focused my intuition and my guesswork of how my glazes might join together in some kind of harmony. And when I began to make these platters, the thing that went through my head was that I want to touch that in this piece of pottery that doesn't yet have a name, that is really beyond beauty, that there's some depth in the work that can really make your life sing. Yeah? There's another one here that have I talked long enough? So another one, this came out of the fire a couple days ago. And it just struck me that all of this is kind of swirling around in the cosmos, swirling around. So it is active, it is organic, it's alive, it's speaking a language to whoever wants to have this on their dining room table. Is there a price on? Yes, there is. Well, that was not my motive for picking it out. Okay, so I've had my pots here for 7 years, and I've been teaching for 5. And so that is the next dimension of my pottery life. And it's been so important to me. The students here are incredible. They are growing, they're failing magnificently, they're often filled with joy, but there are times when they're just racking their brains to make it all work. And all of this feeds me. It's such a delight to have these folks be a part of my life. And then yet something more. And that more was that I had been 20 years alone in my own studio in Amesbury, and I've been doing pretty well there alone. And it seemed like the time to have one or two people join me, and share some of the joys and the sorrows. So two people did join me, and I want them to come up here right now. And they don't want to, you see. But come on, Linda, and so I will tell you, the first day when they came to the studio, they opened the door. Linda looks inside and she says, "This place needs to be cleaned up." I mean, what can I say? It was a guy's space, probably, in other words.
Yeah.
But, yeah, did you say yes about that? It was a men's space?
Yeah. It was well lived in and well loved.
Yeah, that's right. So Linda and Deb have become a new force in my life, really. And they bring so many things to the work that we share in now. And their work is over on these two stands right here. So you'll have a chance to look at those. And it's wonderful. Their stuff is wonderful. So do you guys want to say something?
Well, I mean, not a public speaker, but I guess the main thing that I'd like to say is thank you. Thank you for all your inspiration and encouragement, and the way you've shared your knowledge with us while we've been there has just been incredible. I never in a million years thought that I would be essentially a full-time potter with my own studio space, and it's just been an absolutely incredible experience. I started taking classes here in Exeter. I had just moved to the area. I would say not an easy move from another state, and I mean, for me, my experience in pottery has made all the difference. I remember coming to your class one night and being kind of in a bad place, sour mood, and thinking, well, I'll go to pottery. And by the time we finished our class, I was in a completely different headspace, and I just felt so much better, and that's what pottery has meant for me, and you've been a huge part of that experience.
Thank you.
You know how much I love this.
I know you love it.
But I guess I have to echo everything that Linda said about being so grateful for the experience, because I came here in 21 in one of your Saturday classes and, touched the clay, and that was the spark. I continued, all the cool kids were on Thursday night, so that's where I met Linda. And just your inspiration in that class to come up with ideas, to kind of push the envelope and generate the community. And I think, to me, that's so powerful about you, is that you do generate this community, and about Exeter. Where's Linda and Lauren?
Yeah.
About this community, this pottery community. And that's something that Linda and I found. We ended up, after becoming friends in 21, working here and helping out in the studio and learning so much. And then getting together with you, Roger, we just hit the ground running.
Yeah.
We couldn't have done without this experience.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, you guys really took to it
Yeah.
so amazingly well. And I sure missed you when you moved on.
Yeah.
But we're still here on Monday nights.
Yeah.
Team teaching is
Yeah.
valuable.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. But the studio is just so much fun, and the discussions that the three of us have, and just leads you to places where you didn't know you were going.
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
thank you.
Yeah. Thank you.
And I might say that their, the testament to that is their work is right over here, and you can see elements of Roger in their
Oh,
work
definitely.
in different ways.
Oh, definitely.
But all along there are Debbie and Linda's pieces, and I'm thrilled that they went on and became full-fledged potters. I'm thrilled that they have their work here for sale, because that is what Exeter Fine Crafts is all about. It's about teaching and showing people how to express themselves with whatever medium if they feel like they want to.
Yeah. Thanks. Thank
All
you.
yours.
Get out of here as fast as you can. So that's the story of us, and in many ways, all of you here have been a part of this story for me. The clay, the church, the exercise, Deb, the exercise. Kirsten, you want to wave, turn around, and would you wave again? So that's my wife, Kirsten, who's just been helping to make this enterprise stay human and really good. And let's see, who else is back there? Carol, you want to wave up here? Oh, wave, yeah. Carol and Tiff, say hi. Okay, there's Tiff. And who else? I guess that's it. Thank you all for coming out. I don't know, my heart is just warmed so much with seeing your faces.
Thank you for being.
Loving you.